They always said I lived too well for someone like me. I suppose, in their eyes, luxury needs a leash. That's how it started, small whispers, sharp as glass. My family never said it outright at first, but I could feel it in every silence that followed a compliment. I remember that Sunday dinner like it was yesterday. My mother's roast chicken, the one she only made when she wanted to appear civilized in front of my sisters. The table was already set when I arrived, polished silverware, crystal glasses, and attention that hummed under every smile. "Nice car, Daniel," my sister, Mara, said, eyes glinting. "What is it this time? Another gift from your friend?" The word friend lingered in the air, dipped in poison. I smiled, trying to keep my voice even. "No, Mara. Bought it myself." A scoff from across the table. My brother-in-law, Greg, didn't even look up from his plate. "Sure you did." Laughter followed, thin, performative. My mother didn't laugh, but she didn't defend me either. That silence, her silence, was worse than the laughter. It told me she believed it too. They all thought I was being kept, that the nice apartment, the new clothes, the trips to Lisbon and Tokyo, were all paid for by some secret benefactor. A sugar daddy, a mysterious lover, a rich man who liked keeping pretty things. The irony? I was the benefactor. I never corrected them. Maybe I should have. Maybe I liked the secrecy, the quiet thrill of knowing something they didn't. But at that table, surrounded by people who were supposed to know me best, I felt like a stranger to my own blood. After dinner, when everyone was gone, my mother cornered me in the kitchen. Her hands smelled of soap and lemon. She kept her voice low. "Daniel," she said, "I'm your mother. You don't have to lie to me." "About what?" She glanced toward the doorway. "About him." I froze. "Him? That man who's taking care of you." Her tone softened, as if she pitied me. "I don't judge you. Times are hard, and if you found someone who, Mom." I cut her off, sharper than I intended. "There's no man." She sighed, almost sadly. "Of course there is. You're not fooling anyone." And that was the moment something inside me cracked. Because the truth, the real truth, was much stranger, much heavier, than anything she could imagine. I hadn't been kept. I'd been protecting them. For the past 3 years, every mortgage payment, every medical bill, every credit card debt my sisters, miraculously, had forgiven, those came from me. Quiet transfers, anonymous deposits, debt collectors suddenly backing off because someone took care of it. I didn't tell them because it wasn't about gratitude. It was about control. The only way to keep peace in a family that thrived on resentment was to let them believe they had the upper hand. But secrets rot. And mine was about to burst open. It started when my accountant called me one morning in late November. "Daniel," he said, voice tight, "we need to talk. There's been some unusual activity." He wasn't wrong. Over $100,000 had vanished from one of my accounts, an account only 2 people had access to. Me, and my sister Mara. At first, I thought it was a mistake. A glitch. But then the transfers continued, smaller amounts this time, spaced out, hidden in patterns that only someone close to me could replicate. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She smiled. "You can afford it," she said. "Besides, it's not like you earned it, right?" That night, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the city through the rain. Somewhere between the neon lights and the sound of distant sirens, I realized something horrifying. They didn't just misunderstand me, they needed me to stay misunderstood. My success was only comfortable for them if they could diminish it. So, I decided to stop hiding. After that night, I stopped pretending. I stopped smiling at family dinners, stopped laughing at jokes that were always at my expense. I let the silence stretch, and I could feel them squirm inside it. A week after I confronted Mara, my phone rang again, my mother this time. Her tone was sugar-coated with worry. "Daniel, sweetheart, your sister's been upset. She said you accused her of stealing." "I didn't accuse her," I said. "I caught her." There was a pause. Then came the sigh. That same weary, disappointed sigh I'd known since childhood. "Money changes people," she said. "Maybe you should think about what's really important." I laughed softly. "You mean, family?" "Yes. Family." It would have been touching if it wasn't so manipulative. That evening, I decided to show them what money-changing people really looked like. I invited everyone over for dinner at my place. My apartment, sleek, modern, the kind of space that made them whisper, was spotless. I made their favorite dishes. I wanted it to feel like one of those calm, civilized nights where secrets sit quietly behind every smile. They came, all of them. Mara, with her husband, Greg. My mother. Even my younger brother, Liam, who rarely showed up unless there was something to gain. We ate. We drank. We performed the play we'd been performing all our lives. Until dessert. That's when I stood up and turned on the projector. The room dimmed, and on the wall behind me, the truth began to play. Receipts. Bank transfers. Payment confirmations. Loan statements marked paid in full. Each with their names. Each with dates, amounts, account numbers. Every vacation, every gift, every time they'd bragged about a lucky break or a bonus. All me. My mother's face went pale. What is this?" "It's what you call a kept man," I said, my voice calm, almost detached. "Except I was keeping you." Mara stood up, furious. "You think this gives you the right to humiliate us?" "No," I said. "It gives me the right to stop being your secret wallet." For a moment, no one spoke. Just the sound of the projector whirring, and the faint crackle of tension turning solid in the air. Greg muttered something under his breath, something about pride. Liam avoided my eyes entirely. My mother's hand trembled as she reached for her glass. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered. "We're family. And family doesn't lie." I said. "Family doesn't steal." Her voice broke. "You made us feel small." That was the cruelest twist of all. Because she wasn't wrong. After that night, everything changed. They stopped calling. Stopped visiting. Even birthdays came and went in silence. For the first time in years, I was truly alone. And for a while, it felt like freedom. No more obligations. No more guilt. Just quiet. But silence has a cost. Without the noise of my family, I started hearing things I hadn't before, the echo of my own decisions, the sound of every dollar I'd used to buy peace. And then came the letter. No return address. Just my name, written in my mother's neat handwriting. Inside, one sentence. "You've ruined us, Daniel. I hope you're proud." I wasn't. But I also wasn't sorry. Because beneath that sentence was a photocopy of something unexpected, my father's will. He'd left an inheritance I never knew existed, split evenly among the family. Except, there was a handwritten note at the bottom, scrawled in his shaky penmanship, "Give Daniel his share last. He's the only one who will earn it." For years, I thought I'd been the outcast. The black sheep. The one they pitted. But maybe my father knew exactly what kind of people they'd become. Maybe he knew I'd need to learn what they never would, that love without respect is just dependency disguised as loyalty. And yet, as I sat there with that letter in my hands, another realization hit me like a cold wave. I'd built my whole life around being indispensable. Without that, who was I? I picked up the phone. Dialed Mara's number. It rang once. Twice. Then, click. "Daniel," she said flatly. "Why are you calling?" "I want to talk." "We've said enough." "No," I said. "You've said enough lies. I just want the truth." A bitter laugh. "The truth? You think throwing money at us makes you a saint?" "No," I replied. "It made me your prisoner." There was silence on the line. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. "Money was never the problem," I said quietly. "It was the story we told ourselves about it." And for the first time in years, I hung up before she could. After that call with Mara, the world went quiet again. No more texts. No more family gossip sneaking into my inbox. For months, I told myself that peace was worth it. Then winter came, and with it, something colder than the air outside, guilt. I started dreaming of them. My mother's trembling hands. My father's note. Mara's voice cracking when she said, "You made us feel small." The words played like a looped recording, reminding me that truth, once spoken, doesn't always heal. Sometimes, it just cuts cleaner. I tried to drown it out with work. I buried myself in projects, in meetings, in the endless hum of screens and deadlines. But it's strange how success sounds hollow when there's no one left to deny it. One evening, around dusk, I got another letter. This time, from a hospital. My mother had fallen. A hip fracture, nothing fatal, but serious enough to bring everyone together again. The letter wasn't signed by her, it was by Liam. "Please come," he wrote. "She keeps asking for you." I didn't want to go. God, I didn't. But some things you don't do out of obligation. You do them because not doing them would haunt you. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and cheap coffee. When I walked into her room, the light was dim. She looked smaller than I remembered, fragile, but not broken. Her eyes flicked open when she heard the door. "Daniel," she whispered, a smile struggling to form. "You came." "Of course," I said, sitting by her bed. "You didn't think I'd stay away forever, did you?" She chuckled softly. "I wasn't sure. You've always had your father's stubbornness." That name, father, hit differently now. There was a long silence. Machines hummed quietly around us. Finally, she reached for my hand. "I know what you did," she said. "And I'm sorry." I froze. "For what?" "For believing the worst of you. For making you feel like you had to buy our love." Her words hit harder than any accusation ever could. Because beneath them was something raw, regret. Later that night, Mara and Liam arrived. Their faces were tight, cautious, as if they'd walked into a room full of ghosts. Mara spoke first. "Mom told us," she said. "About everything." I nodded. I figured she would. She glanced away. "We didn't know how to face you." "Or you didn't want to," I said, not cruelly, just honest. Liam stepped forward, nervously rubbing his hands. "You're right. We took advantage. We thought you owed us. But we were wrong." It was strange, hearing it. After years of lies, hearing a single sentence of truth felt surreal. "I don't need an apology," I said quietly. "Just honesty." Mara's voice broke. "You were right about the money. But you were wrong about one thing." "Oh?" She met my eyes. "You think you were the only one paying for everything. But we were all paying, just in different ways." She wasn't wrong. Her guilt. My silence. Our mother's denial. Each of us had been keeping something alive that should have died years ago. When my mother was discharged a few days later, we drove her home together. It was awkward at first, but something had shifted. No one was pretending anymore. As we carried her things up the stairs, she stopped us halfway and looked back. "Do you remember what your father used to say?" she asked. We all nodded. "The richest man isn't the one who has the most. It's the one who gives without losing himself." I'd heard it 100 times as a child. But for the first time, I actually understood it. That night, after they were gone, I went through my father's old desk. Buried under yellowed papers and photographs, I found a sealed envelope addressed to me. Inside was a single page. "Daniel, when you read this, you'll already know the truth. I didn't build this family on money, I built it on debt. The emotional kind. We all owe each other something, but it's not always what we think. Don't let what you give define who you are. Let who you are define what you give." There was a signature, shaky but firm. And at the bottom, one final line. "Take care of them, but not at the cost of yourself." I folded the letter carefully and placed it back in the drawer. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the need to fix anything. I didn't feel like the provider, the hero, or the villain. Just a man, finally even with himself. It's been 2 years since that day. We're not the picture-perfect family people imagine, but we're real now. We call. We argue. We show up. And when someone mentions the past, those whispers about me being kept, we laugh. Because the truth is, I was kept. Not by a lover. Not by money. But by the lie I built to protect the people I loved most. Now, I live differently. I give differently. Because sometimes the only way to stop paying for everything is to finally understand what something is truly worth. And in the end, I learned, forgiveness isn't free, but it's the only debt worth settling.